Hey, what's happening, guys? How are you doing? This is Rob of Rule of Two Review. Welcome back to the channel. And today, the Nintendo Switch JoyCon Drift situation sadly just gets worse and worse. So really quickly, before I get into the main topic of this video, I did want to kind of give you guys a little bit of an update here. There's a good chance that this video might be the last video that I get to post for the rest of this week. Maybe. I mean, it might change, but I happen to have my younger brother, actually coming into town this week, who's visiting and staying with us, my girlfriend and I, here at our house. And it's obviously going to keep us quite busy. I'm not going to be working for the week because I'm going to be hanging out with him the whole time. Really excited. Going to be a lot of fun. You know, I haven't seen my brother in probably like 5 or 6 years or so. It's been a long time since I've seen my younger brother. And so, you know, I just don't see a situation where I'm going to be recording or updating any videos, with two possible exceptions. One is if just the most insanely massive piece of news comes out, something so huge like, I don't know, a Metroid Prime 4 trailer, something like that, you know, something that I couldn't possibly ignore. I will find a way to make a video and kind of update everyone on that and discuss it. And there's also a possibility that, honestly, my brother and I make a video together, because he is just as nerdy, just as involved, has his own podcast he does as well. So if we happen to have a reason to kind of get together on camera, maybe I can introduce you guys to him or whatever. We might do that, but nothing is planned. There's a very good chance I'm not going to be uploading the rest of this week, so I just wanted to give you guys an update. I'm not going to be dead, you know, in the next couple days. I'm just busy with family in town, and so I probably won't be uploading any videos. Okay, with that housekeeping out of the way, let's get to the actual goods. Let's get to the drama. The drama that is the Nintendo Switch and JoyCon Drift, this immeasurable problem that just seems to not go away for Nintendo and for a lot of fans. It's not just that, oh, it's a big thorn in the side of Nintendo. It's that it's also a problem affecting fans, gamers, Nintendo fans, and people who have spent lots of money to own these Nintendo products. It sucks that people are seeing problems with their Joy-Cons and problems with Drift. Now, if you've watched any of my videos over the last couple of weeks, I've touched on this a few times already because it has been in the news cycle. And I've told you guys how I am somebody who has not once ever experienced Joy-Con Drift with my analog sticks. You know, we all know what Joy-Con Drift is, where the calibration gets off on one of the analog sticks, and so it's moving on its own even when you're not touching it. So it's moving your character when you don't want it to, or it's moving the camera when you don't want it to, whatever the case may be. I seem to be one of the more fortunate ones where I just haven't had this problem. I've had this Switch and these two Joy-Cons since March 3rd, 2017. Since launch day, the day the Switch hit the market, I picked up this Switch, and I've used these Joy-Cons many times, in portable, not in portable, just in my hands, and I am lucky I've never had any issues. But I do know that many people have had issues. The Joy-Con Drift thing goes back to last year. People were already talking about it being an issue. You know, the really funny thing when it comes to my own personal experience here is I don't have Joy-Con Drift, but I do have Xbox One controller drift, because my original Xbox One controller that came with my Xbox when I bought it, that has a drifting problem with the left thumbstick, where it's always... sometimes when I use it a certain way, it suddenly gets stuck and it's like trying to move up. And so if I'm in a menu, all of a sudden it'll start scrolling through the menu items on its own. Or if I'm playing a game, the character will just start moving. And it's like, oh my god, this is so freaking annoying. It's really annoying. Like when I'm playing Gears of War, suddenly my character will be standing still and then they'll just start slowly walking because of that. So it's not Joy-Con Drift, it's just analog stick drift, and it's just kind of a funny coincidence that I haven't seen it on my Joy-Cons, but I have seen it on my Xbox. Now, of course, one of the biggest updates around Joy-Con Drift over the past year has been the class action lawsuit that was filed against Nintendo not that long ago. That was a big step forward in action for what's going on with Joy-Con Drift. Action from the consumer and action demanded on Nintendo's part. And it was around that time, I think earlier this year, when the lawsuit was filed, if I'm not mistaken, that also Nintendo finally said, hey, we're fixing all Joy-Con problems for free. We're giving you as fast of a turnaround as possible. If you call and talk to us and you say you have issues with Joy-Cons, send them in. We're fixing them for free. We're sending them back. We're not charging you a dime. So they clearly made their first step to publicly acknowledging the issue by doing that at that time. But nonetheless, the lawsuit still existed. And The lawsuit, you guys, we have to be real. It's a pretty big deal. It's an important thing that's happening, and it shows that it's a real problem. You know, I love Nintendo just as much as you, just as much as the next person, but they're not perfect. No company is perfect. No person is perfect. And so it's okay to call out an issue with a person or company you love when it's warranted. And this is a situation where it's warranted. I say that because whenever I or even other YouTubers talk about this stuff, there are always those insane zealot defenders that jump into the comments saying, you're crazy, how dare you, you're fear-mongering, how dare you spread lies, how dare you pretend that Nintendo isn't completely perfect. I even had someone on my last video about JoyCon Drift a few days ago state that the lawsuit, the class action lawsuit, was like a non-action lawsuit. It's totally not a big deal. It's not even worth bringing up. You shouldn't even talk about it. Don't bring it up. Don't put it into people's minds because it's not important. Like somebody who was clearly terrified of the fact that people out there are this mad at Nintendo and taking this level of legal action. And I have to be real, even though I haven't experienced JoyCon Drift, it seems to be a real problem. I don't doubt that it's a real problem in any way, shape, or form. I think you'd be insane to pretend that it's not a real issue. And so, I think that this class action lawsuit, from what I can see as an outside viewer looking in, reading articles, it seems legitimate. It seems warranted. It seems that Nintendo needs to know, hey, you've got a flaw in your product that you're selling to consumers for hundreds of dollars, and it's widespread to a level that it's worth you taking a look at and rectifying. Like, it's not being negative towards Nintendo. It's not me or other people saying, damn you, Nintendo, you suck now and I hate you, just because I'm acknowledging their mistake and the fact that they need to fix it. So I just hope that people don't get too crazy saying like, oh, how dare you, you're fear-mongering. God, fear-mongering. When I hear people say that about topics that I've discussed, like when the switches were cracking because of heat and everything, it's like, oh my God, what is wrong with you? People need to just separate from their passion about video gaming as a hobby when they start seeing discussing facts and problems with companies as fear-mongering. It's pretty sad. It's definitely not anyone mongering fear. In fact, it's fact-mongering. That's what it is. Fact-mongering. I and other YouTubers are trying to spread facts to you by discussing JoyCon Drift and cracked Nintendo Switch cases and scratched Switch screens and red rings of death and whatever the case. Like, it's facts. That's just what's happening, you guys. So anyway, the point is, if we focus back on the lawsuit thing here, the interesting update here several minutes into this video is that now, with the release of the Nintendo Switch Lite just over a week ago, the Switch Lite itself has been included in this class action lawsuit, further confirming a lot of the fears people had about the Switch Lite, which was, are people going to be stuck with JoyCon Drift? Whereas now, with the original model Switch, the good model as I like to call it, if you have an issue with JoyCon Drift, you just pop these suckers off, you throw them away, you trade them in, you do whatever, and you go buy new ones. And yes, that sucks. Yes, Joy-Cons are expensive at $80 for a pair, but that's far better than being stuck with a video game unit that you just simply can't use. With the Switch Lite, if you have issues with JoyCon Drift, your whole unit, your whole gaming experience is kaput. You can't do it, you can't enjoy it, you can't play it. And to make matters worse, to twist the knife a little bit more, the Switch Lite, as many people, myself included, has complained about, can't even be connected to a TV, which means you can't put it on a TV and play with the Pro Controller, so you're just totally screwed. This update and addition of the Switch Lite to the lawsuit comes just a few days after that viral video went around that I did discuss a couple of days ago, where somebody on YouTube posted a 30-second video of their Switch Lite exhibiting JoyCon Drift when he was playing, he or she, I think it was a he, was playing Breath of the Wild, and kind of tapped the analog stick a little bit, and then all of a sudden the camera started moving and swaying on its own. And it's like, oh man, JoyCon Drift on the Switch Lite might actually be a thing, and everyone was worried about it at that time. And apparently, now more people are seeing the same problem because it's been added to the class action lawsuit. So what does this all mean? You know, where does this really get us? I think it just gets us to a point where people who have acknowledged JoyCon Drift as a problem or seen it themselves are obviously feeling more and more vindicated, I think, with every new sort of piece of information that's added here. You know, the addition of the lawsuit and then the addition of Switch Lite to the lawsuit, now only a week after the thing is launched, shows that it just is a real problem. As I've already kind of talked about in this video, it's the facts that those of us are mongering. The fact being, JoyCon Drift is an issue. And here's the thing. Am I mad at Nintendo? Like, honestly, no, I'm not mad at Nintendo, because what I'm willing to concede through all of this is that Nintendo is just a body of human beings who all work together to work as hard as they can to make the best products they can, to have the most successful business they can. And they're not in business to make bad products, to get people angry, to have to refund people money, and to go through lawsuits. They're not in business to do that. This is happening due to some sort of weird human error design flaw somewhere in the process of putting things together when they were first designing the Switch and the Switch Lite. It's a thing that happened. So it sucks. It is their fault, and they should fix it. But am I mad at them? No, because people are allowed to be fallible and flawed and make mistakes, just like businesses are allowed to be fallible and flawed and make mistakes. Obviously, the severity of the mistake can go up higher and higher depending on the business or the person you're talking about. When a president makes a mistake, it affects a country. When a medical company or a hospital makes a mistake, it affects people's health. Those are big mistakes that you really need to work to not have problems in the first place, and you really got to fix when they become issues. When a video game or a technology company makes a mistake, they sell people products for hundreds of dollars that need to be fixed. Yeah, okay, that's a problem, but it's not to the level of it's not to the level of a presidential mistake, a political mistake, a medical mistake, you know? So I'm willing to say Nintendo, as a business of hundreds or maybe even thousands of employees, they're all humans who work for this company. They made a mistake. It sucks. I can say you're allowed to make mistakes or a mistake, provided you acknowledge it's your fault and you do what you can to fix it. I felt the same way about the Red Ring of Death with the Xbox 360. You know, Microsoft didn't set out to screw people over and to steal money from people. Nintendo, it's the same thing. They're not trying to screw you over and steal money from you by selling you a crappy Switch Lite that doesn't have Joy-Cons that works. Like, they're trying to make the best product. Something went horribly wrong, and now we're in the period where they need to pay for it, hence the lawsuit, and they need to fix it. And I think we can all trust that going forward, Nintendo is not going to make this same mistake again. And so we're at the point where, as per usual, we're just going to have to wait and see. We need to just wait and see what happens and what comes of this. I think that it's probably going to be another year or so before we find out what's going on. But I think that before that, Nintendo needs to finally actually come out and publicly address people and state the acknowledgement of JoyCon Drift itself. Like, they need to say these words to people, right? And they need to say, this is our bad, it is a problem, and, you know, we're going through this litigation behind the scenes that we can't talk about, but here's what we want to proactively do in the meantime to make it better for you guys. And I don't know what that's going to be other than fixing Joy-Cons for free for people. I have no idea what that can be. Maybe they make some sort of specific ambassador type program like they've done in the past for people who have this issue and give them like additional Switches or something. I don't know. I'm not Nintendo. I'm not a business. I don't have the answers. I just know that it would behoove them to, over the course of the next 6 months to year, to finally address people publicly and announce something that they're doing in a proactive way to make it better for people and to soften the blow for people who are having this issue, you know? I think it's really, really important. So whether or not they do that is up to them. We can only wait. Whatever happens with this lawsuit, we can only wait. It's very interesting that the Switch Lite was added, but I'm not surprised. And honestly, it's probably the right move. I have to side with the consumers on this one, you guys. I love Nintendo, like I said, but I think I have to side on the people who are suffering because of this issue and people who are out hundreds of dollars because of their purchase that's no longer working. So these are my thoughts. This is the small update on what's going on. And I want to hear your thoughts. What do you think? Have you had JoyCon Drift? Do you have a Switch Lite that has issues? Do you agree with this whole thing becoming a big kerfuffle? Do you think that it's overblown? Are you one of those people that I maybe referred to who think that this is nothing but fear-mongering and that it's not a big deal and people are blowing it up when it really isn't a problem? I wouldn't agree with that, but if that's how you feel, this is a safe space. You can feel free to share however you feel about it below. So with that, this video is a wrap. Thanks, of course, as always, for tuning in, guys. This is Rob of Rule of 2 Review, and I'll catch you next time on another video.